I'm Julia, and I want to tell you about my personal experience of being in the last festival on Earth, how the paradise turned out to be a kind of prison, and how I escaped this prison. I've been traveling through Central America at the time, and I found myself going to this beautiful gathering on the beach of Panama. It called Tribal Gathering. And when I arrived there, I realized it was a perfect place for me to be at that time. I really wanted to be present and be able to take in everything that that place had to offer. I went completely offline. Not that I had service at the place, but there was an option to get a Wi-Fi, and in that moment, like, why do I need to know what's happening in the outside world if I'm here, right? So that's what I did. I went offline, and everything was great. I had no idea what's happening in the world. And then, couple weeks go by, and things get to be complicated. Lots of people on the festival were from Europe, and I think around March 10th, 11th, 12th, that's when lots of countries in Central America canceled their flight connections with European countries because of effort to stop spreading the coronavirus. At the festival, majority of the people were from Europe, so already so many people had no idea how to get home after the festival, and if you can imagine, that changed the energy a lot. I remember my first reaction when I've heard about the border closures and flight cancellations and everything that was happening. I was like, what? Honestly, I was in shock. And I was in shock, and I didn't even realize I was in shock until a couple days ago when I finally came out of the shock. But in that moment, survival instinct was very triggered. Because here I am in foreign country, in the middle of nowhere, completely powerless. I cannot even leave the place. I don't know when this happened, but at some point, army forces were outside the festival, and they were not there for any other reason but to make sure that we are staying in the place and nobody's escaping. So that was a little intimidating. The information at the festival was changing every day, every hour. Nobody knew what exactly was happening. They were telling us that you could leave the festival. There were a few conditions. First one, you had to be in Panama for at least 2 weeks. So that way you kind of went through the quarantine. So at the checkpoint, the officials would check the passport to see when did you enter the Panama. And the second condition was to make sure you have no fever. I remember checking my passport. Okay, I arrived to Panama on March 1st. Right now is March 15th. I want to leave tomorrow, so everything's cool. Then I don't have a fever, I feel good, so that should be fine as well. And on that day in the evening, I met a friend of mine. He was leaving the festival already by his car. And yeah, we said goodbye and, see you somewhere in the world. And then a couple of hours later, I saw him on the festival grounds. And my reaction was like, oh, hey, wait, what? What are you doing here? You should be long gone and stuff. Well, in that moment, he told me that there are 2 cases on the festival grounds when there is a suspicion that it might be coronavirus. So they're not letting anybody out right now. And tomorrow, in that moment, it was Monday. Tomorrow the doctors will come in, they do the tests, and if those cases are confirmed, everybody's staying on the festival ground for another 2 weeks for the quarantine. Whew. We're joking on one side, like, oh yeah, we're the last festival on earth. This is awesome. We're just gonna stay here and start a new tribe. And, we have ocean, we have palm trees, we have food, and then we have so many cool teachers. We can do yoga, tai chi, different workshops every single day. Start a new community and lead by the example how to live in this world. It was all cool and funny, but it's still, there's one thing when you choose to do it and another thing when you are forced to do it. I was still feeling that I kind of prefer to leave festival when I want to. In that moment, I thought, okay, if I'll get stuck somewhere in the world, where would I want to get stuck? And the answer for me was Hawaii. And I remember checking online if there are still tickets to go to Hawaii, and there were, but I was afraid to even buy any of those tickets because I wasn't sure even if they will allow us to leave. On Monday morning, I recorded a little video. It is actually on my channel. It was from tribal gathering and coronavirus, just a quick message. In that moment, I still had no idea where I'm gonna go. I was just thinking, okay, I need to commit to something and I need to make things happen. So I booked a flight to go to Hawaii that was leaving on Monday evening. And that was a big risk for me because I had no idea even if I'll be able to leave the festival, not going to another side of the world. Somehow it seems the moment when I committed to my direction and I booked that flight, universe really helped me. It felt like between all this mess and confusion, there was a little tunnel that opened up for me to slip right through to the place of safety and security. Maybe half an hour later, after I booked the flight, I heard the test came out negative, and those two people did not have a corona, and we are good to go. In that moment, I felt like, well, this is it. This is my chance. And you can leave a festival only by a few ways. It's either a shuttle or you get a taxi that comes from the Panama city, which is 3 hours away, or you leave if you have a car. I found a friend from the night before who had the car, and I talked to him. I was like, hey, this is the chance. This is the time. Let's go. It took a little bit convincing to do on my end, and I understand why. Because basically, organizers of the festival said, like, hey, you can leave, but if you leave, you cannot come back. And in that moment, we were not sure if you can still cross the border, if the airports are working, if what's going on. But we got into that car and we left the festival. On the road from the festival to the airport, there were a few security checkpoints that apparently were also checking passports of the festival goers and checking their temperature. Because we were in a private car, we were not very sticking out and nobody stopped us. We actually haven't seen any of those checkpoints on the road, but we've heard they were there from the people who left festivals the previous days. Yeah, I got to the airport. There everything was calm and chill. Some people were wearing masks, some were not. I made my way to Hawaii. It was very quick, even though it was 30 hours of traveling. It felt very quick for me. And I had no idea what was happening in the festival. And apparently, after they told people that they're good to go, officials changed their mind again and nobody was allowed to go. And around 300 people had to stay on the grounds of festival for another week. And at some point, embassies from different countries had to be involved in order to rescue those people. And I saw this short documentary a couple of days ago, and turns out there are still some people on the ground of the festival right now. And I just hope they are safe, they have enough clean water and good food, and they're there for each other because it's such a interesting time we live in. And yeah, for me personally, from this whole situation, the lesson is just to be able to choose the direction I want to go and commit to it. And when I'm on the right path, universe is helping me, supporting me from all sides, and I'm very happy that this is part of my journey and part of my experience. And thank you so much for watching this. Namaste.